Looking to buy a business but not sure where to start? The key is finding one that aligns with your expertise and your interests. So you start by assessing your skills and passions. What industries do you know best? Where does your enthusiasm lie? This intersection is your sweet spot. Next, research the market. Ask yourself the question, is the market growing? Is there clear pain the market is experiencing that I can solve? Then you consider the business's potential for growth. Does it have the capacity to expand in ways that excite you, i.e. further acquisitions? Next, don't forget to evaluate the culture and values of the business. Do they resonate with your own? This alignment is crucial for long-term satisfaction. Finding the right business is about matching it up with your unique skill set and passions. Share this with a friend that didn't know business could be profitable and fun. All right, so let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into kind of our self-assessment, then our unique value add to grow the business, researching the market, and some cultural and value alignment. So starting with the self-assessment, there are things like doing the DISC, the Enneagram. There are a couple of others that I can't think of right now, but like the DISC and the Enneagram are the two big that I can think of, two big personality tests that I can think of. Then there are other personality tests that you can do as well. You can get coaches, mentors, friends, and family to give you insight into yourself. But ultimately, I think it's clarity on what you want. So of course, take a DISC assessment, take an Enneagram assessment. Those will increase your self-awareness. Take time to receive feedback from coaches, mentors, friends, and family. Compare feedback across sections. What's similar, what's dissimilar, why are there changes, why are there not changes? Are you treating certain areas of your life differently than you're treating others? Get clear on how others are perceiving you, and then reflect on if that matches up with your perception of yourself. And then you can get a bit more self-aware of how accurate you perceive the situation going forward, going backwards, and just right now. Next, get clarity on what you want, because when you're taking kind of self-assessing for the purposes of business acquisition, I think that first self-assessment, or the core of it, needs to start with where you're trying to go. Because you could buy a lot of businesses, and most of them cash flow, or most of them you could turn around if you had the skill set or knew somebody with the skill set. So there's money to be made everywhere. If the goal is to make money, you're not going to be able to narrow it down. And an example of this is when I picked sober living, I knew it worked for me because I was trying to do real estate to get to financial freedom, to then put people in homes and help them reintegrate back into society. I just didn't know I could do that now. I thought I was going to have a bunch of cash flow, buy the properties cash, so I'm not worried about losing them, and then I'd be able to put people in it, help them reintegrate back into society, and then help them on their way to hopefully joining the new 1%, right? However, I did not understand that I could do it now. I could get homes now. I could help people in their recovery journey now, and then I could help them grow in their career and towards their goals and dreams right now. And all of that could be a business that wasn't just that coaching model that's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of flimsy. Like, it's hard to kind of grasp, like the life coaching model. So I just liked the business model. When I figured it out and I saw how much it aligned with what I was trying to do, because I had clarity on what I wanted, I was like, that is clearly the thing that I need to do. So let me figure out how to do it, how to do it well. So after you've done the self-assessment, you have clarity on what you want, you've done the DISC, you've done the Enneagram, it's time to figure out what your unique value add to grow the business is. For me, I come from very much of a sales perspective, and so specifically cold outreach, I wouldn't say I'm particularly good at it, but I'm a little bit better than somebody who's just starting out in that I can get responses, I can craft copy to get responses, and I think I'm pretty good at thinking about what the other person wants. Now, whether I can actually provide that or not, that's another story. I'm like, hey, what's a free thing that they would want? I can typically start to answer that question, or I know how to ask people the questions that will allow me to answer that question. And then I have no problem reaching out cold to offer it to them. And so whether that's cold email, cold calling, cold texting, I've done all three of them. Not at a super high level, but I do have some exposure. And so when I'm looking into a business, I like to think of a few things. I have done a lot of cold outreach, cold calling, cold texting, cold emailing. I've even door knocked. I've done a lot of kind of podcasts. And then I've kind of dabbled in some social media. So when I'm looking at a business, I'm always like, how can cold outreach help grow the business? And then is there a way that a podcast can help us connect with prospects? Because I know how to host a podcast. I feel comfortable talking on camera. And it's a good value add for people who want marketing content, right? And people like talking about themselves. So give them an opportunity to do so. And a good percentage of people will jump at it. So that's kind of my unique value add when I'm looking at a business. Can I grow it from a cold outreach perspective, or can podcast content fueled by a marketing budget help grow this business as well? What is your unique value add? It might be that you really know how to run paid ads, or you're really good at partnerships. Partnerships is another thing I always evaluate for a business. Are there obvious places I can go to find my ideal client? And they already have them, they're already paying them, and we can partner in some way that is complementary to both businesses. Those are kind of the three ways. Cold outreach, partnerships, and then podcasts are kind of how I like to add value to businesses right now, or situations. As my tool belt grows, I'll be able to add value in more ways. But the key is, what is your unique value add when you're analyzing these businesses? And it'll probably align with clarity on what you want. Because I like partnerships so much, and I like podcasts so much because I like building community. I like building community because ultimately I want to build a community that impacts a lot of people and is all about impacting people. And so everything I'm doing in business kind of goes through that community. It's cold outreach to invite people into some sort of community. It's podcasts to build some sort of community, and it's partnerships to start building relationships that are the foundation of community. Which brings me to cultural and value alignment. Once you know your unique value add, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's customer success, or whether it's product, or whether it's strategy, or whether it's culture, or whether it's finding the right employees, when you know your unique value add, make sure that the culture and the value are aligned. Like if I was in a business where I had to cheat people, and I had to pressure sales them, and I had to kind of hit quota every week, and hitting quota was more important than making sure the person gets the value they need, that wouldn't be a good cultural or value fit for me. If I was in a business where all the employees were used to working 12 hours a day and they expected their CEO to work 14 to 15 hours a day, that's not a good culture fit for me. And so you need to make sure you know where you're at culturally and where you're at with your values, and then that the business supports that coming in. Because you don't want to come into a business with 20 employees who are all used to one thing and try to change them just because it's what you like. It's much better to find something that's already aligned, and then you can come in and help double down on what's already there from a cultural perspective and from a value perspective. So that's what we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And remember, we are a community of people, judged not by our wealth, but by our impact.